Stomach cancer. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe not. It's the second leading cause of cancer deaths worldwide, and it's affecting young adults between 25 and 39 more often than ever. Rarely is stomach cancer found early. It's usually at stage 4 by diagnosis, and survival rates by then are just 4%. The tough part? No one knows why. For those who survive, it often means a life with severe chronic pain and problems. Tony Leonard lives in our area and is one of the brave ones fighting the disease. Tony's wife, Christy, and son, Austin, are by his side in this battle, and they've teamed with Debbie's Dream Foundation to draw awareness and fund research in the fight against stomach cancer. Their first annual Fighting Stomach Cancer golf tournament is set for Saturday, November 8th at Gates 4. It's captain's choice, with dinner and prize opportunities included. Sponsored by Power Swain Chevrolet. Sign up your team for just $320. More details available at debbiesdream.org under the Events tab and Facebook at DDF Golf NC.
I'm Paul Johnson in for Danny Highsmith, who has the day off, and this is Talkback, a weekly public affairs program with the Beasley Broadcast Group Fayetteville, where we discuss various issues involving our community. The opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of this station or the Beasley Broadcast Group. Dissenting opinion is welcome, and there will be time made available for dissenting opinion. And while Danny's off today, we have two very special guests. They're going to spend the next half hour with us. Christy and Tony, who are going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about stomach cancer. Now, their last name is Leonard. Tony has an incredible story that began in January of 2012, and let's start right there. Tony, tell us things that led up to you being diagnosed.
We just went in for a routine, I was turning 40, trying to get my 40-year-old checkups coming around, and I was having a little bit of stomach pain from eating some hot food. My wife was like, hey, you want to make sure you get your stomach checked out. So my doctor, being a good man that he is, he's like, okay, so instead of just doing a routine, write your prescription for some antacids, let's go ahead and get that checked out. We'll get a endoscopy done, and they'll just put a scope down there. So we went to the doctor, he scoped me, and about 2 days later called my wife, said, yeah, everything looks good, we should be good to go, and everything looks good, and then everything was, went back to normal, and then a couple of days later they called her back and was like, hey, we'd like to see you back, we got your test results in. My wife said, well, you just called us and said everything was good, Well, doc needs to see you. We want you to come in first thing Saturday morning.
Wow.
She's like, Saturday, and you guys don't usually work on Saturday. They're like, well, he just wants to talk to you Saturday morning about 8 o'clock. So she calls me at work and said, hey, they want to talk to us. The doctor wants to see you Saturday. So I know she's already been crying all day because she knows her brother. We lost her brother a couple months, about a year before that, to lung cancer, and he was only 28, 30 years old. So
gracious.
She's been through it, and so I kind of know something's bad. So we go in there and we're talking to the doctor, and just to make a long story short, he just looks at us and says, you're too young. And he says it about 20 times. So I finally burst out and say, so what is it, cancer? And I was just kind of being funny. And he looks at me and goes, yes, cancer. And my wife she starts to get really upset and crying, whatever. And she was like, look, you give my husband the best. I don't care. You get him the best you get him. So they call us back a couple days later, and they got us the best. They sent us to Duke, and we saw the Duke doctor, and I never realized stuff moved that fast. So instead of, we thought we was going to go up there and see the doctor. They was going to draw this whole long process out. You know how hospitals are. We went and seen him Monday. He only operates on Fridays. And his nurse was like, well, this is what you got. It's Leonidas plastica. It's a pretty rare cancer. We're going to use our own slides. So we're going to probably try to get you in the next couple of weeks. Let me schedule my nurse. They come back about 30 minutes later and says, okay, want you to be in here Thursday for pre-op, and then we're going to operate you on Friday morning.
Wow.
And within a couple of days, I went from being okay, eating what I can eat, to not having a stomach. They took out the membrane around my stomach, a bunch of lymph nodes.
Your esophagus?
My esophagus, it was growing up my esophagus. It was a lot of cancer.
And let's stop right there and let's mention that this is stomach cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, when stomach cancer is diagnosed, it's already at a late
It's
stage.
too far gone. Yeah.
Right, right. So this is remarkable fast track treatment that you were getting, and almost a desperation play. I mean, if they were taking out part of your esophagus and everything else. Stomach cancer, we might want to throw in right now, is the second leading cause of cancer death in men, fourth among women. Again, one of the tricky and dangerous and really kind of cruel things about it is that by the time it's diagnosed, in your case, you were having trouble with some spicy food. A lot of us do. And all of a sudden you go in and get it checked out, and it's late stage cancer to the point to where within days of being diagnosed and within a week of talking to your doctor about it, you're up at Duke Medical Center and they've taken this out. Wow, that's and I just want to also throw in right now, I'm talking with two people that wear smiles on their faces, and so even though you've been through a lot of adversity, I mean, you prove to anybody that can hear this broadcast, if they can see the smiles through the microphones, that the only way to deal with this kind of stuff is to accept what you can, take it as it's dealt, and then make the pledge to come what may, drive on. And we'll talk more about that. And the golf tournament you're going to be sponsoring where other people can help you in the fight coming up. But let's get back to the story. So they took out most of your stomach, some of your esophagus. Go on from there.
Yes, they took, my lymph nodes out, and my esophagus and so forth. I went in, woke up, was in a hospital bed. I mean, I was out for a couple of days. My wife's, she's at my side 100%. She hadn't left my side since day one I went in and so forth. And one doctor comes in and he's like, hey, we're gonna get you squared and set. And then the surgeon comes in, and I've never heard a surgeon say some stuff like this, but he doesn't beat around the bush. He came in and said, look, this is some really bad stuff. If we find it outside of your stomach, or we can't get your stomach out, or we see it here or there, we're just going to close you up, and we're going to have you relive it the rest of your life, which is a couple of months, and we're not going to, we're going to leave you pretty much the way you are,
Okay.
You'll pretty much have maybe 3 months to live.
Wow.
And so forth. And that's when it really hit me, Up until that point, I was smiles and giggles, and because it was moving so fast, it had nothing that really hit me hard, and just the truth wasn't staring me in my face until he said, this is it. And that's when I looked at my wife, started getting a little emotional and thinking about my kids, and it just kind of started getting surreal about what was going to happen and how the future was looking, because it wasn't looking real good.
Right.
He gave me the percentages, and my wife already knew the percentages, and
Let's mention what they were.
So, but to back up a little bit, so when he was first diagnosed, we got home on that Saturday, and my cousin happened to be in town, and I immediately started looking up stomach cancer, and my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, stage 1 has a 70% survival rate.
Right.
I was like, are you kidding me? And then, stage 2 drops to 50, and 30, depending on if it's A and B.
Right.
Tony was stage 3C.
Wow.
And so he was given a 9% survival rate.
Wow.
9%. Wow. I said, are you kidding? And I just didn't say anything. I didn't say anything to him. I didn't say anything to the kids, because in my opinion, really, it's all in all, it's 50-50. You're either going to make it or you're not.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
And so I think right then and there, we made a decision as a family, like, we're going to beat this.
That's great.
That's
great.
I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, but that first hour of surgery was a very long hour, because I said, so when will you know? Like, once you get in there, when will you know if they're going to take his stomach out, what they're going to do. And he said, I'll know in an hour.
Wow.
So he's in there, and I'm looking at the clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they came and told me that they were going to continue with surgery,
Good.
there was like 3 families in the OR room or in the waiting room, and we were all just praying together. We were very blessed, and we were just all hugging each other and cheering. We were excited.
That's great.
So.
Wow. Now, let's talk about the state of the tumor itself. There was no tumor. It was taking the stomach and making it the case for its
Yeah,
tumor.
so Lionitis plastica is actually it's a hereditary diffuse gastric cancer. It's very similar to the the breast cancer that's genetic.
Right.
It's almost like a cousin, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So Lionitis plastica doesn't typically show up on a CT until it's too far.
Wow.
Until it's stage 4, and it's the thickening, the lining of your stomach thickens.
Mm-hmm.
So he had, a round of CTs done before we got up to Duke. And his CT, even though they knew he had stomach cancer, even though his biopsies were positive, his CT was still negative.
Goodness gracious.
So, and they did everything, chest, abdomen, pelvic.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they took his stomach out, and they actually did the whole full pathology that they do after surgery, his tumor was 16 by 14 by 1 centimeters.
Goodness
And
gracious.
that's what I tell people. And he had 7 out of 10 positive lymph nodes.
Wow.
This,
So one huge thing. So after we get through all this stuff, the surgery, we went through 25 rounds of radiation, the chemo, which was killer in itself. It just takes so much out of you. They drop a bombshell on us and say, hey, the cancer you have is hereditary, and you have the right stuff in your tumor. We pulled out, so you're probably gonna it's probably gonna be hereditary, and you're probably gonna pass this to your kids.
Wow.
So you have 5 boys, and I have a very big family.
Mm-hmm.
So we're probably gonna have to take their stomachs out when they're 20 years old.
Goodness gracious.
So we need you to go see genetics ASAP.
Okay.
So not only did that hit me harder than anything else,
Right.
because you're
Right.
thinking, God, how can I give something like this to my children?
Yeah.
Not knowing, and then they have to go through this, and then they have to think about, oh well, I don't want to have kids because I don't want to give this to them.
Right.
This is such a hard disease. You just don't get cancer. You pass this stuff on,
Right.
like you're giving down some old shoes or something. So the best news I had heard ever was when my test results came back and they were negative.
Good.
So I didn't. I mean, it was probably like a 2% chance that I didn't have the hereditary type cancer. And
Okay.
thank to God that I didn't have it.
Good.
I think we went out and had a celebration lunch or something.
it was the best news we had heard because
Yeah.
everything was bad news, bad news, bad news,
Right.
bad news.
Right.
And there's a gene. It's called a CDH1 gene.
How about that?
And so that gene is what they test for. And that's how they can determine if you have the hereditary diffuse gastric cancer.
Okay.
So as a preventative, if you carry that gene, you can test your kids for it, but your kids won't be able to be tested for it until they're young adults because
Goodness
it doesn't
gracious, yeah.
become in your
Manifest
blood.
itself.
Correct. So, but they still recommended that our boys start getting their endoscopies when they're like 21, 22,
Right.
because stomach cancer is increasing in young adults.
Right.
So that's the
Right.
other part of all this. So stomach cancer is increasing in young adults, 25 to 39. And
Man. Well, let's talk numbers. 22,000 Americans are diagnosed each year with stomach cancer. And across worldwide, it's about 1 million people.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about how the fact that it's the second leading cause of cancer death in men, fourth in women. And each year, tens of thousands of lives are lost to this horrendous, kind of cruel cancer and disease. There's really no screening that's present and available for it right now. So the thing you've got to do is just kind of be attuned to yourself. And as soon as you feel like something's not right, go and do what Tony did and get checked out and pray that it's early, as early as possible.
so there was one thing that stomach cancer is very prevalent in Asian countries.
Okay.
It's and with Tony being half Korean, half American, also type A blood, A positive blood is another stomach cancer similarity. And Tony has A positive blood. There was a Korean doctor that did a clinical study, I should say, that found that if you get an upper endoscopy every 3 years,
Okay.
typically you can catch stomach cancer in the earlier stages. Whereas
Okay.
if you wait till the 4th year, it's too far gone, because I think stomach cancer is 80 to 90% metastatic.
Meaning it spreads.
It spreads.
Right.
And it's very fast, very, very fast. You know,
Okay.
we lost our state senator, Nesbitt, to stomach cancer
Okay.
in March. And I believe, matter of fact, what I read, he was diagnosed exactly 2 years after Tony had his surgery.
Wow.
But he passed away, I think, 11 days after he was
Gotten back
diagnosed.
from,
Maybe one of the positive things that we've heard in our discussion so far has been keep up with an upper endoscopy. Is that the procedure's name?
It is.
Okay,
It's an
okay.
upper,
Upper endoscopy. And do that every 3 years.
every
And-
3 years.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I tell people, don't ignore your body.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, don't ignore your body. If you're, having heartburn and Tums isn't doing it,
Right.
if they hand you a prescription, stomp your feet. I'm a redhead, so I stomp my feet quite a bit when I don't get my way. And so even with Tony's doctors, if I'm not happy with, I don't settle for this is just enough.
Right.
He has so many issues eating, right, that I just started stomping my feet and stomping my feet and stomping my feet. And the more you stomp, the more tests they run, and they say, oh, well, this is why. You have esophageal spasms.
Wow.
Or, oh, your intestine was wrapped around your esophagus. We fixed that.
Wow.
Or, oh, your 3 feet of your intestine is spazzing, so here's another medication. You have to just keep
Right.
moving
You
and
do
not
have to
settle.
keep fighting. Exactly.
Yeah.
Boy, and healthcare professionals, for as much as they have knowledge that you don't have, when you're the patient, they're working for you. So that's a great point, is just keep asking the questions, keep fighting for what you think you need. You mentioned the fact that you went to work in the political process a little bit to get a different reallocation of funds for fighting stomach cancer, and that's fair and good. You had 5 boys, and you initially kept it from them, but it was one of your sons wrote a letter to Senator Burr.
Yes,
that kind of
Austin.
changed how your whole family dealt with this deal. Talk about that.
So Austin is a Boy Scout,
Okay.
and for one,
Now, when Tony was first diagnosed, he was what age?
he was 12.
Okay.
Austin
And so
was
he was
12.
already a Boy Scout then.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And they all had to write the senator for a merit badge.
Okay.
So, and you had to write about something that was important to you.
Right.
And Austin wrote about stomach cancer, because you do hear a lot. I think it's wonderful how far some cancers, have come along. They all stomped their feet for 20 years to raise awareness. I think that's a great thing, and now we're just trying to do the same thing for stomach cancer. So Austin sat back and wrote a letter that brought tears to my eyes, about, will you support my daddy's fight? Will you wear this ribbon in November for Curing Stomach Cancer Month? And he, when he wrote the letter, he got a letter back from the senator and a signed picture, and we sent it over to Debbie's Dream Foundation, because we had just recently linked up with them, because I was looking for caregiver support.
Right.
I wasn't looking for anything more than just caregiver support, another wife that I could pick up the phone and call and talk
Sure.
to. So when Austin did that, I sent the letter, and Debbie, who's the founder of Debbie's Dream Foundation, sent me a message on Facebook, and she said, "You have got to get involved."
Wow. Wow.
And so I gave her our information, and she asked us to participate in the first ever Stomach Cancer Advocacy Day. And
What year was that now?
the first was in 2013.
Okay.
And it was what we were asking for. Stomach cancer gets the least amount of federal funding from the NCI per cancer death.
Wow.
We get $12 million a year for stomach cancer research. That is it.
Wow.
But we have, I think per death, we only receive about $1,100.
Goodness gracious.
And so we just ask that they reallocate the funds a little bit. We didn't ask for more money. We all know what's going on up in D.C., so
Yeah.
we just ask that they reallocate their resources a little bit. So there was a letter to the head of the NCI, and we asked that the senators and the representatives sign it. So we did pretty well. We got a lot of signatures. The second advocacy day was this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that went really well. Like Tony was talking about with the veterans, they did a study for the soldiers that were in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, and they found that there was an increase of soldiers coming back from the Middle East with H. pylori infection in their stomach,
Wow.
which is one of the leading causes of stomach cancer.
Okay.
So, but anyway, back to Austin. So Austin was thinking about his Eagle Project and all the different things that he wanted to do.
Sure.
And he said, I want to do a stomach cancer flower bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's so sweet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after that, a very dear friend of ours in the troop was also diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer.
Goodness gracious.
So he asked if he could do a dual stomach cancer and breast cancer flower bed.
Okay.
So he's actually working on that right now. He worked with the city of Fayetteville and talked to who he needed to talk to, and we all crossed the T's and dot the I's. And so,
Well, we have Cure Stomach Cancer Month going on in the month of November. And you have led an initiative to get it declared that in the state of North Carolina with Governor Pat McCrory and locally here in Fayetteville with Mayor Nat Robertson. Talk about that.
So when we came back from Advocacy Day, we just came back really motivated. Like, we really just wanted to do something. We just wanted to scream and shout. And then we heard about the state senator losing his battle. So at that point, I just said, enough is enough. So I researched how would you submit proclamations, and I worked with, of course, Debbie's Dream Foundation, and we got some talking points and some key facts, and we submitted the proclamation to declare it Curing Stomach Cancer Month. And when that was passed, we were really, extremely excited. And we also did the same thing for the mayor's office. When Austin had said what he wanted to do for his Eagle Project, Tony and I, we're the North Carolina East chapter founders for Debbie's Dream Foundation. We asked Austin, could we read the proclamations at his flower bed the morning of the golf tournament?
Great.
So he has a little deadline that he has to meet. So
Fantastic. Well, let's talk about, where is the flower bed?
it is in Festival Park. It's in the corner near the concession stands.
Oh, that's great. The golf tournament is going to be coming up, and the fact that if you put together a golf team or want to play as an individual, you have an opportunity to join Tony Leonard and a lot of the other people that are suffering from stomach cancer. You can join the fight, too. This is Talk Back. I'm Paul Johnson, along with two very special guests this morning. We've got Tony Leonard, a stomach cancer survivor and fighter and battler. And Tony, I've got to say this again, you wear it so well, man, with a smile on your face. And a lot of people that I know that would have gone through everything that you've gone through wouldn't have your kind of spirit. But that's a little bit owing to the fact that you've got a tremendously supportive family around you. And Christy Leonard, Tony's wife, has got an equally big smile on her face. And they got 5 great kids. And one of them, Austin, is for an Eagle Project, has a joint stomach cancer survivor bed of flowers and a breast cancer survivor bed of flowers that's going to be dedicated on November 8th. Let's talk about the golf tournament that is part of the Debbie's Dream Foundation tournament that is going to be going on in the same time frame. And it's going to be at Gates 4. Is that right?
Yep. We're going to have a very nice golf tournament at Gates 4. This kickoff Captain's Choice at noon. It's 4-man Captain's Choice for the teams and individual people. If they don't have a team, they can come sign up and we'll pair them off with,
Sure.
other people. Kind of meet new people, other people in the stomach cancer community, people that just like to play golf. We're going to have kids out there. I've got a few younger adults that are going to be playing. We're going to have seniors, women. We're also going to be serving some food afterwards. We're going to have a little banquet. We'll have guest speakers. We're going to have a video showing of what we're doing on Advocacy Day. We also have a nice gala in Florida that'll be up playing too, and just kind of meet and greet type deal. the food is not gourmet, but it's pretty
Oh,
decent.
they're terrific out there, and they can prepare just anything they prepare is special. And it's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
I know. Like I said, this is North Carolina, so we're definitely gonna have some barbecue. And
That's great.
barbecue chicken, hot dogs, hamburgers for kids, whatnot. It should be a very, very good tournament, and I'm hoping it's gonna be a
Yeah.
large tournament.
Well, Gates 4 is a great course to play. Very friendly staff, wonderful layout. I'm going to put on my pitchman hat here, and I'm going to add a few things to it because I have the list in front of me.
Right.
Yeah, 18 holes of great golf at one of the great courses in our area. Gates 4, four-person captain's choice, unlimited range balls. Come on out as early as you want and polish up your game. Hit those 50 balls with your 5-iron to make sure you put it in just the spot you want. Work out your chips or whatever you want. There's going to be a closest to the pin contest, a longest drive contest. You got mulligans and red tees necessary for guys like me for purchase, and those proceeds go to help out the fight against stomach cancer. And really, I love the title, and I love the bold approach. This is Curing Stomach Cancer Month, and this is a Curing Stomach Cancer golf tournament. There'll be some prizes, raffle drawings, a hole-in-one contest where you can win some huge dramatic grand prize if you just pop one in the hole. Some people think that psychs everybody out, but everybody takes that shot, and everybody loves that. And it's a fixture in these things. And then you get the next 18-hole round of golf free, excluding the cart fee, just for coming out that day. $320 for a 4-man team, and if you don't have a team, it's still just the same pro rata, $80 per individual, and they'll pair you up with somebody. It's going to be a great day. Powers Swain Chevrolet is going to be sponsoring the hole-in-one contest, so you can win that car. And then you've got Lilly Oncology is also a contributing tournament sponsor. Have I mentioned all the sponsors I need to?
We actually have quite a few more.
Okay.
We have different levels of sponsorship. So Lilly Oncology is actually our gold sponsor, and they are wonderful. They actually just came up with a new stomach cancer drug, the first one approved by the FDA.
Oh,
So
great.
we love Lilly. Tony worked for an amazing company, and I'm going to try to keep my composure because they are probably one of the best companies I've ever heard of, and that's NCI. Their regional headquarters are right here downtown.
Okay.
Tony worked for NCI for about 7 years, and when he got sick, they just all the way up to the president of the company came to our house to make sure that he was okay and spend time with him. So they did a silver sponsorship, and I can't say enough wonderful things about NCI. I mean, really. I keep saying if I ever lose my job, I'd love to go work for them.
That's great.
Yeah. Tony's gastroenterologist, Dr. Kadali from Fayetteville Gastroenterology. He also is a sponsor. He did a bronze sponsorship as well. And so those are probably like our biggest sponsors. And of course, we have friends and family that have done the Friend of Tony sponsorship. That is one thing that I do encourage a lot of people. We have a lot of folks that have said, I really want to come to the banquet that starts at 5 o'clock the day of the golf tournament. I'm not really a golfer, but I really want to come to the banquet. Or there's a group of us that that want to come to the banquet. So one of the sponsorships levels that we have is a Friend of Tony sponsorship. It's only $250, but it includes 4 tickets to the banquet.
Oh, great.
So you can come out and still participate. And as far as the raffle prizes and drawings, I just got them in the mail yesterday. We have 5 vacations to give away.
Oh, great.
So we're looking at, Barbados and St. Lucia and Panama. So there's a few places that, 7-night stays in some beautiful places that I wouldn't mind if one of my kids popped the golf ball in the hole.
There you go. I love it. Well, this is great. Now let's do the part where we get people who are interested in becoming sponsors. It's a telephone number to call, 954-475-1200. That's 954-475-1200, and that'll give you not only help in signing up for the golf tournament, if that's what you want to do, but if you're interested in becoming a sponsor and, say, getting in on the banquet, then you can do that too. I'll give that number one more time, 954-475-1200. There is a website, debbiesdream.org.